Hey, what's up everyone? Tedrick85 here, and today I'm going to be talking about Episode 7 of Book 3 of The Legend of Korra, which is titled Original Airbenders. Which I think in my last video I added a word "the" in front of it, which it isn't, it's just called Original Airbenders. And, the main focus of this episode are the recruits that are at the Northern Air Temple to, learn their airbending. And, one thing I have to say about this episode is, I gotta get off my chest and say, I really enjoy Boomy. Much like I enjoy Bolin for being comic relief, Boomy adds his own little unique perspective on things and his own unique humor, but in this episode, honestly, I think he kind of hits the mark a little bit because, not to say that he isn't funny in this episode, but I don't think his humor worked to the effect that it probably wanted to or what most people expected it to. Because right off the bat, he kind of clowns around while Tenzin's trying to teach the airbenders and that. So, and I just think Boomy, yeah, he's trying to be funny, but at the same time, though, it was kind of disrespectful to Tenzin. And this causes Tenzin to doubt his teaching strategy to the airbenders. So he ends up taking Boomy aside, and he asks him what he would do, and Boomy tells him to pretty much rule everybody with an iron fist, but much to Boomy's chagrin, that Tenzin actually hangs on to his advice and starts being brutal with the airbenders. And by brutal, I mean really strict. I don't mean anything out of the ordinary and stuff, but definitely, you can definitely tell where Tenzin kind of had that drill sergeant mentality about them, which Boomy kind of looks at him like, oh crap, I just created a monster. But but yeah, one part I liked in the episode a lot where it was a part where you could see just how much Korra has matured since the first book. And what I mean by that is whenever her and Tenzin were talking to each other earlier in the episode, and Tenzin was wondering how she was doing, and Korra assured him that everything was safe in Zaofu and that. And Tenzin was talking to her about him having trouble approaching the airbenders, and Korra ends up telling him in that, saying, he just has to do his own thing. He has to find his way of relating to the airbenders and that, which, to seek help from Boomy if he has to, not really take things upon himself, but it is okay to ask for help, much like she had to ask for Tenzin's help. So, here, Tenzin is, Tenzin ends up telling her that she's becoming a wise avatar, and she ends up remarking that conflict resolution is what she does. And I think she did a really good job with this particular conflict resolution, because she pretty much insinuates to Tenzin that he doesn't really have to take this on himself, that there are other people willing to help him in that. And Tenzin's the type of guy that, yes, he's a very open guy, but at the same time, he's set in his ways, especially when it comes to airbending and that. So, for Korra to reach that resolution with him, I think was a really nice scene indeed. And, yeah, and, one of the parts I like about the episode too was where the one airbender, I'm trying to think. His name was Daw, and here he's the only one that elected to. Actually, he really didn't elect, but he ends up getting his head shaved by Tenzin and that, which the others are saying, no, I don't want my head shaved. But towards the end of the episode, Daw ends up finding the benefit of a shaved head, and that's to feel like the different air vibrations and that, and he was able to help out the crew, which I'll get to in a minute. But yeah, and another thing about this episode too, which to be honest I'm not really a fan of, is the developing relationship between Jinora and Kai, which to be honest I think is kind of overkill, because there's already the awkwardness between Mako and Korra and Asami. There's the budding friendship between Bolin and Opal and that, and I don't know. I just don't think it's necessary for Jinora and Kai to be together. I mean, Well, to be honest, I think what's going to end up happening is almost kind of like a situation with Katara and Jet early in the first book of that series, and that something's going to happen where it's going to come out where Jonora doesn't think Kai's the kind of person that she wants him to be, and I just don't see a rosy ending to that, so why force something in which it looks very bleak? Not to mention that her influence on Kai's influence on Janora is kind of affecting her personality, which I'm not really a fan of either, because I think she's being kind of bold towards Tenzin, especially when it comes to getting the airbending tattoos, which you need to be an airbending master in order to get those and that, and she felt she was ready, and Tenzin keeps on telling her that she's not ready, and she's kind of getting upset about that, so I'm not really happy that that part is being introduced in that, but, like I said before, I know there's going to be a good resolution to all this, but in the meantime, it is kind of frustrating seeing that, because I know Janora is a better character than that, so, like everybody else, she has flaws, so we're probably seeing one of her flaws in that, but, yeah, it's a little something I'm not real happy with, but at the same time, it's not something I'm going to go out and then I'm not being too impatient about it, so, I know she'll change and that, she'll do what's best, not only for herself, but for others and that, but, and like I was alluding to a couple minutes ago, there was a part later on in the episode where there's these group of wrestlers and that, and they were coming to get the sky bison because they are actually getting rare species for the Earth Queen because she actually eats rare species of animals. Even though she's allergic to them, she eats their meat, and quite disturbingly, there is a rumor that she ate her father's pet bear, which was the same bear that was featured in Book 2 of the last season, so there is that little disturbing rumor there, but yeah, we get to see these wrestlers getting all these sky bison and that because not only does the Earth Queen get their meat, but as you can see with their leader, they wear the fur of the sky bison and that. So the what ended up happening was Janora and Kai, when they pretty much ran off together, ends up getting captured by some of these bison wrestlers. So it was up to the original Airbenders, or well, not, the airbending students, and Boomy included, which Boomy actually led them to try to rescue Janora and Kai, which, I have to say, that was a pretty cool sequence, because you can tell they really didn't learn, we haven't really got into the full thick of their training yet, but you could tell how much they've learned since they've been at the Northern Air Temple, and Janora and Kai were rescued in that, and the wrestlers were pretty much taken care of. Boomy proved himself to be uh, not to mention a comic relief, but a very strong character who's able to rally people around him and that, which I love to see. And Daw, like I said before, trying to get others to get the benefits of getting a shaved head. So yeah, and even at the end, Tenzin was pretty happy about that too, with his brother and that, and at the same time, after he congratulated his brother and that, he ends up going to Janora that he promises he'll think about her getting her airbending tattoos and that he's trying to grasp the fact that she is turning into a young woman and he's trying to come to terms with that. So, and Janora agreed with that. She was receptive to her father about that, and they had a nice moment together, which I really liked. So, yeah, this was a pretty good episode. Like I said before, I don't like it as much as the other episodes, but like I said, this episode had a tough act to follow. But it was really good. We're really starting to see the character development of the airbending students in that are Northern Air Temple, and I think this episode did a really good job at that. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this episode. This vlog entry, and next time I'll be talking about the next episode, which is The Terror Within, which is really where the story in that is really starting to reach the climax of this current book in that. So it's going to be a very interesting last several episodes, which is going to start in my next vlog. So thank you for watching, and I will see you again next time.